Neon Genesis Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0 is not a perfect film. So here it is. After waiting long enough to post this, I'm finally ready to talk about Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0 Thrice upon a time. Surely, since this is a conclusion to the Evangelion films, it'll explain everything in a clear manner and leave no wondering about the plot at all.
Once awakened, Eva Unit 1 opened the doors of Guff.
You used the key of Nebuchadnezzar.
Beyond the doors of Guff is the anti-universe.
God damn it, Anno. So, if you've watched my previous videos, I hypothesized what may happen in this film, and I got some things right and some things wrong. I thought this film and the Rebuild series as a whole was a continuation of the series, where when Shinji triggers the third impact, he resets the world and resets the series from the beginning. This was evident in the first film, where the water is red because of the second impact. However, in the first episode of Evangelion, the water is blue, which proves my theory correct. The first film is the true beginning of everything, then the Rebuild series happens after the end of Evangelion film. To prove this point further, Kaji says this in the final film.
I now remember I've been here before many times and met you.
Our names are alongside each other in the Book of Life. That's why I have to repeatedly play a role in this predestined circular narrative for all of eternity.
I also got some things wrong, as I was sure this film would go in a very different direction than the end of Evangelion film. But more or less, it went the same direction. It just made some things clearer than they were in the end of Evangelion film. I say that with a very, very large asterisk.
Tell me, Father, what do you wish for?
I chose a world that you refused. A world where there are no AT fields, where humanity shares one heart and mind equally.
I'm going to give a brief overview of what happened in this film, how it connects to the previous films and series. Then I'll be going into some of the terminology used, as I had to research each of these things as I was watching the film, which felt more like homework than enjoying an anime. It did not make it easy to understand what was going on, but now I believe I actually understand the themes, story, character developments, and overarching narrative.
You have to stop this.
Why? What are you doing here, Shinji?
I'm here because I want to learn about you.
The film begins with Shinji, Asuka, and Miss Lookalike, aka Rei, being found by Shinji's old classmates and brought to their village. They show what life is like after the near third impact and how people have adapted to it. It was a devastating event that had a very heavy impact on people's lives, but they found the best of a bad situation and were able to live happy lives. And no one there seems to blame Shinji for causing the near third impact, except Shinji himself. He closes himself off even though everyone is trying their hardest to connect with him. Even fake Rei was able to bond with the people not having a personality of herself. Asuka seems like she's there watching over Shinji regrettably until Misato comes to pick them up.
Asuka, I will go with you.
Okay. Well, these are the rules, so...
At a certain point, fake Rei, making connections with all the villagers, is finally able to connect to Shinji, who didn't want to connect with anyone. Unfortunately, it's right when she turns to orange juice. That's rough, buddy. This moment is important because it's what gives Shinji the change of heart that he needed to be a protagonist again, and wants to pilot an Eva to save humanity. He willingly goes on to Wonder, the big warship used to fight against the now turned evil nerves, and wants to pilot an Eva to save humanity.
We're at the end of our rope.
Miss Misato, I'll pilot Eva Unit 1.
All you need to know right now is that Gendo Ikari, Shinji's dad, has a master plan and was using everyone as a pawn to accomplish his goals all along. Even the angels were a part of his plan. His plan being to create Eva Imaginary, an Eva that is both real and not real and can manifest anything into reality. That was his true goal. In doing so, he'll be able to see Yui, his wife, again, the only person who he ever really connected with. This mirrors the second Rebuild film where Shinji did whatever it takes to see Rei again, but caused the near third impact. Gendo is willing to turn the whole world into orange juice, which is also how he'll be able to see his wife again. Wanting to stop that from happening, Misato and Shinji go to stop him by using the Spear of Longinus created by the Black Moon, which would have caused a third impact but was stopped by Karu. Gendo opens the doors of Guff, where unused souls reside, and where the anti-universe resides as well. This may be confusing, but just roll with it.
The Ayanami and Shikinami type pilots were prepared specifically for this moment. There are no problems.
In this negative universe is where he'll be able to see his wife again. Think of it as a space-time vortex that is shaped by the minds of those who perceive it. Unfortunately, he isn't able to see his wife. Shinji goes in using the Spear of Cassius created by not the gods, but by humanity itself, signifying their dependence and not needing them. The gods being the Atoms, who created both humans, Lilins, and angels. Still confused? Don't worry, so am I.
And it is a very restful world where I can be with Yui again. Yui! 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 Yui, where are you?
Shinji enters the anti-universe and fights with his dad, who is within Ava Unit 13, and Shinji is within Unit 1. Rei's soul was keeping Unit 1 safe for him in the anti-universe somehow. But Shinji was unable to defeat his dad, and he was even willing to say that fighting won't solve their dilemma. Shinji needs to use Talk no Jutsu on him. Pretty kind.
Violence and fear are not the criteria upon which our conflict can be resolved.
Shinji and his dad talk it out while the world around them shows each other's memories. Gendo had a pretty similar past to Shinji's. He didn't connect with people, and he didn't want to. However, Yui connected with him and he loved her. But she died and he became alone again and started his plan to see her again, forsaking the world, even his own soul.
Am I forbidden to meet Yui because I am weak? Shinji?
I think you can't see her because you're not willing to accept your weaknesses. You knew all along, didn't you, Father?
But Shinji, having completed his character arc, knows connecting with people is better than being alone, even if you get hurt. So he tries to actually connect with Gendo, but Gendo puts up an AT field, which even surprises him. He was scared to connect to his own son. He wasn't a terrible father after all, he was a scared one.
I thought a child was a punishment upon myself, not being there for him. I thought that would be redemption. I thought that would be best for my son.
Once he let his guard down, he is able to see the errors of his ways and get what he finally wanted. To see his wife again, within his son, the place he was pushing away all along. That's kind of weird.
So that's where you were. Yui.
At this point, Gendo's arc is done and he is ejected from Ava Imaginary or the anti-universe, and Karu enters the fray. Shinji uses Talk no Jutsu on him. Karu only wanted to make Shinji happy, but learned he has to find his own happiness or something. I don't know. They kind of tied him in last minute.
We'll keep on meeting each other. I'm you, and I'm just like you. That's why I was attracted to you. I wanted to give you happiness.
He exits, and finally it's Asuka's turn, who by the way is in there too. She felt content doing what she wanted and being the best, but just truly wanted praise, which she finally got.
It's okay, Asuka. You're who you are, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Then, like the rest of them, she exits. At this point, they show everything as if it was a film set, with Ava suits and miniatures in a studio warehouse, alluding this is the building blocks of their reality. Their reality is the film we're watching, which adds a fourth wall break element to the film. We get more evidence that Shinji is able to reset the world and that he probably did it many times. There is this theme that doing something is better than doing nothing. Resetting the world and letting everything happen the same way as it did before might be a showcase of Shinji doing nothing. He could end humanity or create a bright future for everyone, but instead he does nothing and lets everything just play out as it did. But this time, he changes his mind and decides to do something, put an end to all Avas. To do this, he was prepared to sacrifice himself, but someone stopped him and sacrificed himself instead, the soul of his mom, who was within him all along. proving he was never really alone. Shinji enacts Neon Genesis Evangelion, the end of Evangelions. Also a personal experience of Anno's own emotional struggle with depression. All the souls are released and form back to normal, and the seas turn blue again, and all the Evas are erased from existence, ending the Human Instrumentality Project. Still trapped in Eva Imaginary, or the Anti-Universe, Mari comes to save Shinji. They enter a reality where everything is normal, and the film ends in what looks like a realistic shot of Japan, signifying they have truly entered reality. The film is over, and we as the audience can enter our own reality again. I truly love this film and the Eva series in its totality. I was very pleased with how the ending went, and when I watched the end of Evangelion film, I was very lost but knew it was profound. This time around, I understood the characters' motives, what happened after research, and the meaning behind all of it. And I was right. It was extremely profound and personal. No one will truly understand these films the way Anno does, but hopefully we can get close to it. Now, this part I'd like to dedicate to some phrases and words said, but never expanded upon, to assist viewers. The Gates of Guff. The Gates of Guff is where unused souls reside and where the anti-universe exists. The gates are open during the third impact, causing chaos. It is key to the Human Instrumentality Project. The Black Moon. Created by the Atoms, the Black Moon is the seed of life for Lilins, or humanity. In the Rebuild films, it began to rise from the ground after the reawakening of Unit 13, but the third impact was stopped and it failed to completely rise from the ground. Nerve HQ transported it to the location of the second impact, the South Pole, where it was used as raw material to create the new spears to open the Gates of Guff. Advanced Ayanami series. A series of clones that resemble Yui, Gendo's wife, and Shinji's mom. They all look like Rei and act similarly. However, the original Rei we know was swallowed up by an angel, and Shinji saved her soul and she was able to fuse with Unit 1. Any other character similar to her is just another clone. Shikinami series. This one caught me off guard, but Asuka is actually a clone. Her line of clones were all terminated, leaving her as the only one left. I think this makes more sense as to why they have children piloting the Evas, because that's what they've been trained to do since birth, excluding Shinji. Vessel of the Atoms. Basically, the Atoms, aka the gods, take control of some Eva units, so Asuka and Mary have something to fight. These Eva units are Mark 10, Mark 11, Mark 12, and Unit 13. They side with Gendo and want to help him in his goals. Failures of Infinity. They are physical gods with no fruit of life, I'm guessing which means they have no souls. They are imitating their god, being Eva Unit 1, but failing to do so. They are depicted as Eva units with no heads, like wandering bodies looking for their soul. They are the result of the near third impact, the failed attempt at the Human Instrumentality Project. It is unclear if they pose a danger or not. The first impact. This is where the Black Moon collided with Earth and created the Lilins, aka humanity. The second impact. This is where the sea turned red after humanity came in contact with Adam and sealed him away under Nerve HQ. This is also where Misato's dad died. The near third impact. This is where Shinji saved Rei's soul, but by doing so caused the near third impact. It failed to completely finish because Kaoru stopped it. The world became what we see in the 3.0 film years later. Kaji sacrifices himself to stop it from completing. The fourth impact. Shinji and Kaoru start doing the fourth impact when Shinji is hated by everyone on Wonder. Because Kaoru accepted him, he does whatever he wants and whatever his father wants, which is to start the fourth impact. But Kaoru realizes he just wants Shinji to be happy and stops it from happening and gets himself blown up to save Shinji's life, stopping the process. The additional impact. This is the final impact, I swear. Gendo completes his victory of the Human Instrumentality projects and reunites with his wife Yui. Although Human Instrumentality was fully realized, the effects of its impact and all previous impacts were reversed by Shinji Ikari by using the Spear of Gaius to recreate the world and destroy all remaining Evangelions. Eva Imaginary. After absorbing the spears of Longinus and Cassius, it takes on the form of a gigantic ray similar to the one seen at the end of Evangelion film. It is the key to the anti-universe in realizing Gendo's plan. Key of Nebuchadnezzar. It's not really brought up a lot in the series, but basically Kaji smuggled it out of Bethany base during the attempted escape of the third angel and gives it to Gendo. It is used to surpass humanity, hence why a bullet doesn't kill Gendo. He gives up his humanity to form his true goal. Oh my god, that was a lot to go through. I did a ton of research for this, and even though I missed the hype train, I still wanted to bring this out for the public because I love the Neon Genesis Evangelion films, and I really wanted to talk about it and break down some of its complex story plots. I hope you all learned something from this video and hopefully have a better understanding of the Eva series as a whole, and maybe even an insight into Ano himself. But as always, thank you all so much for watching, and if there's something you still don't understand, please leave a comment and I'll do my best to answer it. We'll see you guys in the next one because we're moving on.